Have you ever felt like you're operating on a completely different wavelength from everyone around you? Like your brain is wired for complexity, while others seem content with surface-level thinking? If you're nodding along right now, chances are you might be one of those rare INTJs, often called the architect or the mastermind. And here's the thing. Finding the right career path when you think like this isn't just important. It's absolutely critical for your sanity and success. INTJs make up only about 2% of the population, which means you're part of an incredibly exclusive club. But being rare comes with its own set of challenges, especially when it comes to choosing a career that actually fits how your mind works. Most job descriptions sound like they were written for completely different personality types, and the traditional career advice you'll find online, it's basically useless for someone with your unique cognitive blueprint. Today, I'm going to walk you through 5 career paths that are perfectly designed for INTJ minds. These aren't just random suggestions pulled from a generic personality test. These are careers that align with how you naturally process information, solve problems, and find meaning in your work. By the end of this video, you'll have a clear roadmap for finding a career that doesn't just pay the bills, but actually energizes you and makes use of your natural strengths. But before we dive into the specific careers, let me share something that might blow your mind. Most INTJs spend years, sometimes decades, in jobs that slowly drain their soul because they never understood what their brain actually needs to thrive. They accept positions that look good on paper, but leave them feeling like they're speaking a foreign language at work every single day. The truth is, when an INTJ finds the right career fit, it's like watching a dormant volcano suddenly come to life. Everything changes. So what makes an ideal INTJ career? There are 3 non-negotiable elements that every career on this list shares. First, intellectual autonomy. You need the freedom to think deeply, work independently, and approach problems from your own unique angle without constant micromanagement or interruption. Second, systems thinking opportunities. Your brain craves complexity and loves to see how all the pieces fit together in the bigger picture. And third, meaningful impact. You're not motivated by surface-level achievements or busy work. You need to know that your efforts are creating real, lasting change in whatever domain you're working in. Now let's get into the careers that check all these boxes and more. Career path number 1, strategic consulting. If you've ever found yourself analyzing a company's problems and immediately seeing solutions that everyone else seems to miss, strategic consulting might be your calling. This field is literally built for minds that can see patterns, identify inefficiencies, and design comprehensive solutions to complex business challenges. As a strategic consultant, you'd work with organizations to solve their most pressing problems. Think of it like being a detective, architect, and surgeon all rolled into one. You analyze the current situation, design a better future state, and then create the roadmap to get there. The beauty of this career is that you're constantly working on different puzzles with different companies, so you never get bored or stuck in routine. What makes this perfect for INTJs is the combination of deep analytical work and high-level strategic thinking. You're not dealing with day-to-day operational tasks or managing people's emotions. Instead, you're focused on understanding complex systems, identifying root causes, and creating elegant solutions that address multiple issues simultaneously. The earning potential here is substantial too. Senior strategic consultants at top firms can easily earn 6 figures, and if you eventually start your own consulting practice, the sky's the limit. Plus, you get to work with C-level executives and board members, which means your insights actually get implemented at the highest levels of organizations. But here's what really sets this career apart for INTJs. You're valued specifically for your ability to think differently. Companies hire strategic consultants precisely because they need an outside perspective that can see what internal teams are missing. Your natural tendency to question assumptions and dig deeper than surface-level explanations becomes your greatest professional asset. Career path number 2, research scientist. Now this one might seem obvious, but there's a reason why so many INTJs are drawn to scientific research. It's not just about being smart or liking science. It's about having a career that revolves around understanding how things really work at the deepest possible level. As a research scientist, whether in physics, chemistry, biology, psychology, or any other field, you get to spend your days asking fundamental questions about reality and then designing experiments to find answers. This is intellectual autonomy taken to its logical extreme. You're literally expanding human knowledge, which is about as meaningful as work gets. What makes this career particularly suited for INTJ minds is the long-term thinking it requires. Scientific breakthroughs don't happen overnight. They happen through years of careful observation, hypothesis formation, testing, and refinement. This matches perfectly with the INTJ preference for patient, methodical work that builds toward significant outcomes rather than quick wins. The independence factor here is huge too. While you might work as part of a research team, much of your actual thinking and analysis happens in solitude. You get those long stretches of uninterrupted time to dive deep into complex problems and emerge with insights that nobody else saw coming. And let's talk about the impact. When you make a discovery or publish research that advances your field, you're literally changing how humanity understands the world. That's the kind of meaningful work that energizes INTJ minds for decades. The path isn't always easy, though. Research science typically requires advanced degrees, often a PhD, and the early career stages can involve a lot of competition for funding and positions. But for INTJs who are passionate about their field of study, this challenge often feels energizing rather than discouraging. Career path number 3, software architecture and systems design. If you've ever looked at a piece of software and immediately started thinking about how it could be redesigned to work more efficiently, this career path might be calling your name. Software architecture isn't just coding. It's about designing the fundamental structure and blueprint that entire software systems are built upon. As a software architect, you'd work at the intersection of technology and strategic thinking. You're not just writing code to solve immediate problems. You're designing systems that can scale, adapt, and evolve over time. You're thinking about how different components interact, how data flows through the system, and how to build something that's both powerful and elegant. This career is perfect for INTJs because it combines multiple layers of complexity. You need to understand the technical details, but you also need to see the big picture of how the system serves business objectives and user needs. You're constantly balancing trade-offs, optimizing for different variables, and thinking several moves ahead to anticipate future requirements. The independence factor here is significant. While you collaborate with other developers and stakeholders, much of your actual design work happens in focused, individual thinking sessions. You get to spend time in that deep, contemplative state that INTJs thrive in, working through complex problems without constant interruption. What's really exciting about this field right now is how rapidly it's evolving. Cloud computing, artificial intelligence, blockchain, and other emerging technologies are creating entirely new categories of architectural challenges. For an INTJ mind that loves to stay on the cutting edge of complexity, this field offers endless opportunities to learn and grow. The compensation in this field is also exceptional. Senior software architects at major tech companies routinely earn well into six figures, and the demand for skilled architects continues to grow as more businesses undergo digital transformation. But perhaps most importantly, the work you do as a software architect has real impact. The systems you design might serve millions of users, process billions of transactions, or enable entirely new types of digital experiences. You're literally building the invisible infrastructure that powers the modern world. Career path number 4. Investment analysis and portfolio management. Now, this might surprise you if you don't think of yourself as a finance person, but hear me out. Investment analysis at its core is about pattern recognition, systems thinking, and making complex decisions based on incomplete information. Sound familiar? As an investment analyst or portfolio manager, you'd spend your time researching companies, analyzing market trends, and making strategic decisions about where to allocate capital. This isn't about day trading or quick speculation. It's about deep, fundamental analysis of businesses and markets to identify opportunities that others are missing. What makes this career fascinating for INTJ minds is the multi-layered complexity involved. You're not just looking at financial statements. You're analyzing industry dynamics, competitive positioning, management quality, technological disruption, regulatory changes, and macroeconomic trends. Then you have to synthesize all of this information into actionable investment decisions. The independence aspect here is crucial. While you might work as part of an investment team, your actual analysis and decision-making process is highly individual. You get to dive deep into research, build complex models, and develop your own unique perspective on investment opportunities. The research process itself is incredibly satisfying for an INTJ brain. You're essentially becoming an expert on multiple industries and companies, understanding their business models better than most people who actually work there. You're connecting dots between seemingly unrelated events, like how a regulatory change in one country might affect supply chains for companies operating on different continents. What really sets this career apart is the direct feedback loop between your analytical skills and measurable results. When your investment thesis plays out correctly, you see it reflected immediately in portfolio performance. There's something deeply satisfying about predicting how complex systems will behave and then watching your predictions unfold in real time. The earning potential here can be extraordinary. Successful portfolio managers and analysts at hedge funds or investment firms can earn massive bonuses based on their performance. But even beyond the financial rewards, there's an intellectual satisfaction that comes from consistently outthinking the market and finding value where others see confusion. The challenge that makes this perfect for INTJ minds is that you're always working with incomplete information. Markets are incredibly complex, adaptive systems, with millions of variables constantly shifting. You have to be comfortable making high-stakes decisions based on your analysis while knowing that you'll never have all the information you'd ideally want. This uncertainty would paralyze some personality types, but INTJs often thrive in environments where deep thinking and pattern recognition can provide competitive advantages. Career path number 5. Organizational development and change management. This might be the most underrated career path for INTJs, but it's also potentially the most impactful. As an organizational development specialist, you'd work with companies to diagnose systemic problems and design comprehensive solutions that transform how entire organizations operate. Think of it as being a systems architect for human organizations instead of technology systems. You're analyzing organizational structures, communication patterns, decision-making processes, and cultural dynamics. Then you're designing interventions that can shift these complex human systems toward better outcomes. What makes this career incredibly appealing for INTJ minds is that you're working at the intersection of psychology, strategy, and systems thinking. You need to understand how individuals behave, how groups interact, and how organizational structures influence both. It's like solving a massive, multi-dimensional puzzle where all the pieces are constantly moving. The independence factor here is significant. While you work closely with organizational leaders and teams, your actual analysis and solution design happens in focused, individual work sessions. You get to spend time thinking deeply about complex human systems without the pressure of constant collaboration or meetings. The impact potential in this field is enormous. When you successfully design and implement organizational changes, you're literally improving the working lives of hundreds or thousands of people. You might streamline processes that eliminate frustrating inefficiencies, or design communication systems that reduce conflict and increase collaboration. The ripple effects of your work can transform entire company cultures. What's particularly exciting about this field right now is how much organizations need this kind of systematic thinking. The business world is changing rapidly, with remote work, digital transformation, and generational shifts creating entirely new organizational challenges. Companies are desperately seeking people who can see the big picture and design comprehensive solutions, rather than applying band-aid fixes to surface-level symptoms. The earning potential is also substantial. Senior organizational development consultants can command high hourly rates or significant salaries, especially when they have a track record of successful for even greater earning potential and professional autonomy. But start their own consulting practices, which allows transformations. Many professionals in this field eventually, perhaps, what makes this career most appealing for INTJs is that impact. You're not just optimizing systems, it combines analytical rigor with meaningful human workplaces where people can do their best work and find for efficiency. You're helping create genuine satisfaction in their professional lives. The organization is unique. The same intervention that works Brill Challenge that keeps this work intellectually engaging is that every INTJ at one company might fail completely at another because of different cultural dynamics, leadership styles, or market pressures. You're constantly adapting your approaches and developing new frameworks based on what you learn from each engagement. Now here's something crucial that applies to all 5 of these career paths. Success isn't just about finding the right field. It's about positioning yourself strategically within that field to maximize both your impact and your professional satisfaction. Each of these careers has multiple levels and specialization areas, and the key is understanding which specific niche aligns best with your individual strengths and interests. For instance, within strategic consulting, you might specialize in digital transformation, mergers and acquisitions, or operational efficiency. In research science, you might focus on theoretical work, applied research, or technology transfer. The specific path you choose within your chosen field will determine not just your day-to-day experience, but also your long-term career trajectory. So there you have it. 5 career paths that aren't just jobs, but genuine expressions of how your INTJ mind naturally wants to work. Strategic consulting, research science, software architecture, investment analysis, and organizational development. Each one offers that perfect combination of intellectual autonomy, systems thinking, and meaningful impact that your brain craves. But here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to choose the traditional path that everyone else expects you to follow. You don't have to accept a career that slowly drains your energy just because it looks respectable on paper. Your mind is wired differently, and that's not a limitation. It's your greatest professional asset. The most successful INTJs aren't the ones who try to fit into careers designed for other personality types. They're the ones who find work that aligns with their natural cognitive strengths and then leverage those strengths to create extraordinary value. When you find that alignment, work stops feeling like work. It becomes the vehicle through which you express your unique way of understanding and improving the world. Take some time to really think about which of these paths resonates most strongly with you. Trust that inner voice that's been telling you there has to be something better out there. Because there is, and now you know exactly where to look for it. Like, share, and subscribe if you felt this. And if you're an INTJ, drop a red heart in the comments to let the rest of us know you're watching.